Welcome to your weekly Mom Escape, a space where you can kick back, relax, and teleport to the world of me time. So grab your favorite drink and come escape with us.
Hey, Mom Squad. Welcome to the Momscape podcast. I'm Nikki.
I'm Tramika.
And I'm Marion. We missing our girl Tiffany today, but make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to make sure that you and a mom that you love can be here next time for your weekly Mom Escape. Y'all, I got something this week.
What you got going on, girl?
Child. So the reason why I wanted to bring it here, because I'm like the bleeding heart on the show. My heart is so open until it gets to animals.
Oh
Now, I
gosh.
love
I
me.
hope this is not going where I think it's going.
No, probably not. I think
Okay.
I
Good.
know. What you thinking? No, I love me a dog. I love me a good
Okay.
dog.
Okay.
Other animals, for the most part, as long as there's like a distance, I can do like that's so cute. I like learning about them, but I ain't trying to be like up close and personal. But one thing I can't stand is a cat. Can't stand cats.
Same.
Listen, and there has been this cat. I thought it belonged. So I got new neighbors next door, um, and they got kids, and so there was, I think, it was a big girl and like two little girls. And I think the two little girls belong to the new neighbors, and I think the big girl is somebody that live over here that always been around or whatever. Um, And because I have a ring, and so I'm getting a notification on my ring, somebody on my porch. I'm like, who's on my porch? These kids on my porch getting this cat. So I'm thinking, like, okay, they cat ran up or whatever, it's fine. No, for like the last 2 days, this cat has been at my house. Like, it likes me for whatever reason. I'm like, baby, love don't live here. I don't know why you want to be here. I'm not gonna feed you. I don't like you. I want you gone. And like there has been cats around before, particularly one when the old neighbors, when they were there, they had a cat, but it was like when you open the door, it would skedaddle, and that was fine with me. This cat think it's supposed to come in my house, like
Oh
literally,
no.
like it be looking at me like,
You sure
what
your
I'm
son don't be
do?
feeding the cat? Cause why would he be
No,
sticking
no, because
around?
me and him both trying to like, but it be trying to like follow us. It be trying to like, it'll walk up to our car as we getting in the car. I finally posted. I have the Nextdoor app, and then with Ring, you can post things to like the surrounding neighborhoods. So I posted something, and they're like, "Well, you got to share pictures." So I'm sitting here trying. I can't open my back door because it's sitting in front of my door, waiting for me to come out so it can come in. Like, I'm like, but if I freak,
Spray it. Wait, stop. Wait, hold on.
ooh.
Let me keep my stuff because we might have some animal lovers like watching
That's why I was
and
like, when I
listening.
was thinking of this before the episode, I was like, I hope this don't decrease our
But
followers.
I mean, it's our personal space, right? And water ain't gonna hurt nobody. Spray it with some
Exactly.
water.
Because like the old me would have like sprinkled my porch and my yard with some borax. Like, so but it's like, so I called the city like, we only take dogs, you got to call
What?
a rescue. I'm like, was there anybody that you recommend? I don't know, Google it. What? So I'm Googling it. One place I had to left a message. Google some other places, they all take dogs or they don't pick up. They only for if you want to drop off. And I'm not doing nothing. I'm not trapping this cat. I'm not doing none of the things. Like, somebody come get this thing and I'm not paying for it. So that's been my life right now.
So you never got a picture to put on
No,
Nextdoor
so that's
and
the
the
thing.
ring.
That's how comfortable it is. So it was blocking the back door. So I went the front door, and my son followed me. And so because I went in the back and to take these pictures, but when he saw me, he want to come play. I'm like, no, I'm trying to take these pictures so I can figure out
Is
who
it a
you
baby?
belong to. It do look kind of young, like it's not like a kitten, but it do look on the young side. Like if I take off my cat hater glasses, it do look kind of on the young side. And
Oh,
so,
Marion, it's your new pet.
heck, it ain't. And so, because when I try to come back around and come back in my house, it's following me down the driveway.
Wow.
No, it's
Marion, all I'm
bad.
going to say is, because I don't know enough about the subject, I'm just learning, but Google toxoplasma.
What is that? You got to give us surface level insight.
Toxoplasmosis. Well, so, and I'm gonna send you this video, and I'll try to time mark it. But somebody was telling me, someone who studies this was sharing that it's something about parasites, right? Your mind on parasites, in that the rats. So typically mice and rats are supposed to be afraid of cats. But this toxoplasma is like a parasite that lives in the cat's urine.
Mm.
And then the mice eat or smell the urine, and then they get it in them. So then now you got the mice actually chasing, going to feed off of the cats. So there's this theory that there are parasites that live in animals, and some of them are in us, that makes you not afraid of the thing that you're naturally supposed to be afraid of. So that's what I'm saying. I didn't want to go too deep because I don't know enough about it, but I would just say Google toxoplasma.
Look at Marion's face.
Because I Googled, y'all know I got my second screen right here. And so I Googled it as you were talking. And at first I thought you were trying to say that I might have a parasite.
No, well, we all might have a little bit of parasites in us.
And then so I'm listening. So you saying the cat might be sick and that's why it's not afraid of me. Child. That's like rabbit. That's like a rabbit animal.
It changes their behavior. So a cat act more, they act very smart, very human like, you know what I'm saying? So just for it to be having a certain kind of behavior, I would just say.
And to me, I feel like it's acting like a human that think it live here though.
And
That's
so
why
you don't want it doing stuff around your house. So like, don't go out your house like barefoot or anything like that. So you're not taking in.
I mean, I don't be doing that anyway. I live in the city.
Which I think is what kind of sucks, because we should be, there's too much stuff on the ground, but connecting to the earth is supposedly healthy for us, but not if you have those kinds of animals, doing things around the premises. So
only time I got my shoes off is if I'm in some sand.
In the beach, right?
Right. Same. Y'all gonna have all the rest. Well, that is quite an interesting week, ma'am.
Child, and the week ain't over. I pray that the shelter call me back tomorrow and be like, yeah, we'll be over. House 12. 12 is perfect. Like, come get it.
I hope that happens too, because I can't imagine. I remember at our front door, above the door, there's like a glass insert where you can just see like straight out. So it's like for sunlight to come out. And one day it was two birds just sitting up there, but they were looking in the house, and I swear they was looking at us. So I'm all taking pictures. I mean, I was recording for Terrell, taking pictures like it's watching us.
Wait a minute. I came out my house today and was a big old fat owl sitting on my back deck.
Now that's scary, because owls, they are very intriguing, but they are also very dangerous. Like
big
them,
old fat owl. I was like, oh my goodness. Never saw one in real.
That's interesting.
Yeah, them the gangsters.
Yeah. I was like, it's building. I just went to all these conclusions. It's building a nest. I need you to turn around right now and come back home. Like it was, and they were just sitting there. I don't know if they ever built a nest. I didn't see them again, but it was just strange to like. I'm standing. Well, I mean,
it would have been on the outside. Yeah, but like it might have scared them.
I don't know. Like it literally sat there for a minute and watched me. Like, yeah, I see you, and I'm like, I see you. It's my house. Like. So these animals, we keep. So one of the things I know I've talked about with friends is like how here in Georgia, they're building everywhere. So they're knocking down their homes, like all these woods and stuff, like every inch of possible land. I don't care if they could build a half a house on it. They could put a tiny house on it. They are knocking down trees and stuff and building. And so we had like a huge lot that was like down the street from us at like a corner of an intersection. And they just knocked down, I don't know how many acres, hundreds, maybe, I don't know what 1,000 look like, but hundreds for sure. And I'm like, these animals are just like coming into our neighborhoods and taking over and stuff.
And see, and for that, I don't blame them. Like that's where my bleeding heart became. I'm like, they was there first. This was their land. Like during
I
COVID,
know.
I was
man.
here for all the deers in the middle of the street when we was
Yeah.
on
Did
lockdown.
you, Pramika, by chance, did you hear my I did a video on Instagram and Facebook where I talked about the animals, about the deer, how they're blaming the deer for it was like the end of Earth Month or whatever, but I was like, they're blaming the deer. I heard a counselor teaching the kids that he said the problem is too many deer. And he said there's too many the deer are a problem because they're eating too much grass and they cause all this amount of money in car insurance. Because
Okay, well, I did,
it's
yeah,
on
because
my
I
throat.
did get hit by a deer before. I
So
didn't
I
hit the
stopped,
deer. The deer hit me.
so I stopped in my tracks and I was like, well, how is it their fault when we're cutting down the forest? Like, where are they supposed to go? And yeah, they're overeating the grass because it's less forest.
Yeah. I'm for that, but that one deer, I was glad it was dead. I saw it on the way to work the next day.
Oh gosh, move on. We sorry, pet lovers, animal lovers.
It hit me. It did, like, if you could tell, you know how you can tell where the car gets hit, like whose fault it was. Like that deer
I
literally ran out
understand.
and hit me. Like,
A bird hit me and died the other day too. It hit my car, so I was just driving. So I get it, Marion. I was just driving. The little bird juice was just coming down the windshield. It was so nasty.
Oh
And
my
Terrell's like, oh, so you woke up wanting to kill an animal today? I'm like, I did not kill. Like, you ran into my car because he in the passenger seat talking junk. And then he comes home and tell the kids, your mom killed a bird today. Like, what?
no.
You know, I'm good on animals though. Like I know they do
Mhm.
their part in the environment to make it what it is. Just stay
Yeah.
over in your corner. You do what you're gonna do over there, and I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do over here because
Yeah.
I don't do animals, pets included. I
Mhm.
don't do them very well at all.
And I live in the
So,
city, the part of the city that been a city for a very long time. So, but you know what? In Cleveland, I know we gonna transition, but I just want to say because I've lived around deer and I don't know forest animals all my life. I sound like I'm like a gnome or something, but I'm just saying like because of where I lived in Pennsylvania, but they pretty much stayed away from humans. These deer here in Cleveland, they do not care. I did a whole post in my stories last year about it. Like they don't care. They will walk in the middle of the street even when it ain't shut down. Like cars coming and everything. Like it'll be a whole family of them waiting across the street. It's crazy. They'll walk up. They'll be right by you and not care. So
that is crazy.
Mhm.
This is the last thing I was talking about animals because it just came to mind. So during COVID, you know, we were like all in house. I'm originally from New York. And so the city that I'm from, they were like breaking it. It was like when all the stuff, political stuff was going on and stuff like that. And they were like people was like breaking into stuff, like catching stuff on fire or starting fires and stuff. And so they did it in the city. And child, last time I went to the zoo, and apparently they let out the animals, and there's literally videos. Now I don't know if they Photoshop these videos or not, but you see like a lion, like and like an elephant and stuff, and like different. And I don't really know if it was real or not, but it just reminded me of that when you like the deer just walking around chilling. Because in this video, it was just a lion just like walking around just chilling. And I couldn't imagine any of the things. Not a lion, not an elephant, not a deer.
Is that Seneca
Like,
Park?
yes, you see it?
I'm
Yes.
looking for it.
Yes. They said they went to the zoo and let the animals out. I don't know how true it was or if the videos were Photoshopped. That is the park, ma'am.
I'm trying to find it. Oh, it says no, lions didn't get loose from Seneca Park Zoo in protest.
Oh, did it talk about other animals?
They just said that it's a rumor.
Oh, okay. That's why we were saying like that got to be Photoshopped.
A false 911 call, hundreds of social media posts.
Yeah, probably.
What's
fake.
Aaron Decoy police?
Irondequoit.
Okay. I know it's
Wait,
indigenous.
yeah, it's
I was like,
Irondequoit.
what?
So what you been up
Okay.
to, Nikki?
So I had something to share, but I think I'm gonna hold it for the topic. But I still did have quite an amazing day today.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, so I'm a part of a prayer. So I join a prayer call twice a week, and then I'm also a part of a journaling community. So I missed the journaling call this morning. And then for the prayer call, I only stayed on for, it was like, it went for an hour. So I only stayed on for 30 minutes. It was good, but I had to move on to something else. Then I went to work, and then we had a, well, we had a emotional wellness, some type of group coaching program at work. But along the day, I was having these thoughts and contemplations, and I felt like I had got these downloads, like God was speaking to me and giving me answers on some things. So I was like, I got to make sure I go home and journal that. So when I got home, I ended up looking at the journal to see what the journaling prompt was for today. And it was about being present in the moment, being present. It was like being present. And that kind of, correlated with what we talked about in the emotional mindfulness class. And then I went and listened to the rest of the prayer call, and everything she talked about was the same as the downloads I was getting throughout my day. So I was like, look at God still giving me what I need. And that whole thing signified even what the message was, because it was more like, take your mind back and get out of all of these things. And just live your life, like live, because you can still learn from living, and instead of feeling like you gotta do so much or learn so much or having people telling you what to do. So it just was a beautiful moment to me.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I mean, it's always good when he speak, because
I
sometimes
was
I'll be
just
like,
about to
Lord,
say that.
where you
Yes.
at, stuff? Can't hear you. Lord, where you at? I can't hear you.
Right.
So it's a beautiful thing when because I always say, and I don't know, I've been kind of contemplating like, should I stop saying this? But I always say, like, I'm a rule follower. So if you tell me what to do, I'm gonna do it exactly how you give me direction. I just need you to speak, Lord. Just tell me what I need to be doing. Like, when I can't hear you, it's like, okay. So that's amazing. I thank you for sharing that. So listen, I don't know that I really have much to share as it pertains to like random things going on in my life this week. It's been a week. But what I will say is I was walking with a few friends this week and the topic of Mother's Day came up. And so one of the things with my friends, and I know they're probably gonna listen to the episode, but we were talking about one friend was talking about how she was burnt out. And she was like, I'm so burned out, and we have like this big event coming up. And she was like, I'm so burned out and I have this other stuff going on in the big event that I need to get rest before. Like, I just need a moment where I could just like be still is my word. She didn't use those words, but where she could just like kind of relax. So she was talking about getting a hotel Mother's Day weekend. And so the other friend was like, well, I'm gonna talk to my spouse, I'm gonna talk to my husband about like maybe this would be my Mother's Day gift. And so that particular friend went back and asked her husband, and her husband was kind of bothered. And he said that he didn't think that you should tell him or the kids what to get you for Mother's Day, that you should just get whatever they give you because it's their way to honor you in the way that they want you to be honored on that particular day. So that brings me to my first question tonight is, do y'all think you should tell your kids what you want, or do you think you should just take what they give? Like, what's your thoughts on that? Because she asked us our thoughts on what what he had said. So I just want to know, what's y'all thoughts?
Well,
I'm on the fence.
Okay.
No, you go first, Nikki, because maybe you might help me
No, we want your pure, authentic thoughts.
I'm on the fence because I get that, especially when it comes to kids, like, getting to experience their full creativity. If you have a spouse who is, facilitating like their creativity and all of that. Now, if they just go into the store and get any old thing, take the suggestion if that's whatever. But yeah, so that is nice to experience like the full creativity of your kids, for them to honor you the best way that they know how. However, if it's like, I get maybe not every year like dictating what the gift is, but if your wife says, "Babe, I'm really tired this year. Can you give me some rest?" You need to take heed to that and do what she requests. Like, because the thing that people don't realize is how hard motherhood is. It's a blessing for sure, but it's tiresome. And sometimes if a mom just want to rest, she should be able to get that. I don't care if it's for Mother's Day, her birthday, a random Tuesday, whatever. Like, and so if that's how she's asking to be honored, like I said, like it's not like she's saying, "Well, I want white diamonds." I don't know why that came to my mind this year. I mean, this
The
time, but
perfume girl.
yeah, I don't know why that came to my mind. But I want white diamonds this year. I want a Gucci bag this year. Like, okay, I can get that.
Mhm.
But if she's saying like, "Yo, I'm really tired, so this year, do you think you could, make that happen?" Like, he should be falling over backwards to do that. So,
Okay, what you think, Nikki?
Um, I okay, so on the gift giving, I don't think I would tell my daughter. So I only have one daughter. I only have one child. She's an adult. Um, and she asks me sometimes, like, okay, so what do you want?
Mhm.
Um, I think I
So
would just
age is a thing, like a factor, right?
Yeah, I think I would just rather be surprised because I'm not big on you have to get me something
Mhm.
anyway. So I'm good with the surprise and I'm good with Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess it does depend on the individual. My answer to that is just going to be kind of, I guess, a high level view. I don't think it should be to the point where we're not getting appreciation all throughout the year. That Mother's Day is such a big deal that we have to request and have these big requests, if that makes sense. Because if we're getting shown appreciation and honor as we should, everybody should, right? Husbands too, because I know that's a whole. Oh my God, that's a whole episode. The whole how people treat
mhm.
Mother's Day versus Father's Day thing. But if everybody is getting the appreciation and we're being selfless in our relationships and everybody's getting the honor that's due to them, then maybe, I don't know, because it could just be a person thing. It wouldn't be a big to do about what you are or not giving me on Mother's Day. I think that what you said, Nikki, is amazing. Like the whole, if you give me a gift, cool. If you ask me, if you surprise me, or if you just say Happy Mother's Day, you have acknowledged it. But I do think that that may come with a mom who may be more content because and I'm not saying this is you because I don't know your situation, but a mom who is content because she's receiving that love and appreciation all throughout the year. It's not necessarily just another day. It is and it's not. It is like in the physical, it is, but at the same time, it's just a set aside day to show that additional or go deeper into that recognition or that love or that honor. So I just feel like if we can all make it a better practice, and not just moms, but everyone in general, we're just in relationships making it a better practice to show love and appreciation. And I'll count myself first because it's sometimes where I have to go to my husband like, you know what, I apologize because I wasn't being intentional, or I've been taking stuff for granted. Like he's a good man, like, and I've been taking it for granted. I haven't acknowledged it, and I haven't been honoring you, maybe necessarily in the way that I have. I shouldn't say honor because I have, but just like showing that appreciation, being intentional about that. So that's kind of my answer to that.
Mhm. I just want to add, because like you said, the whole Father's Day thing can be a whole nother
Oh
episode.
God, yes.
But because I wholeheartedly believe that fathers should be honored just as much as moms,
Mhm.
present fathers should be honored just as much as moms. That's why I speak so boldly the way I did, because if the tables were turned, I think a wife should do the same for a husband.
Mhm.
So
So what if you don't get anything at all? Like, what if you just get the Happy Mother's Day? Nikki already said like you just gonna be cool with that. And then Mary, maybe you can speak from a perspective about like being a single mom. Like, what does that look like? Do you take your son shopping for your own gift? Like, what does?
nope. I just don't get nothing. Most years I don't get anything. I think it's gonna change as he gets older. He's 13 now.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
last year was the first year that he was like it clicked that, oh, but he didn't know until the day of, like, because I don't remind him. I don't tell him Mother's Day is
Mhm.
coming
Mhm.
up. And so the thing
I
about,
feel so sad by that though. You might not feel sad, but
no, I do.
okay,
But it's my
okay.
life. Um, there's no man here to teach him how to honor his mother.
Mhm.
And I'm just not like, I'm gonna give an example outside of this. When I get married, if somebody doesn't throw me a bridal shower, I'm not having a bridal shower. If I have another baby, if nobody throws me a baby shower, I'm not having a baby shower. Like, I don't facilitate my own celebration and honoring, like I don't believe in that. And so when it comes to like my birthday, Mother's Day, and all these things, nobody is here being an example of how to honor me. And
Mhm.
so, I mean, he's getting it. Like, he's already a loving, mushy gushy person.
Mhm.
So I feel like as he gets older, it'll be more. But I never put that pressure on him, because that's just not, I
But
just
let me
didn't think
ask you
that was a lesson
this.
for me to teach.
So that was where I was gonna go with that. So although I know it's like I'm not gonna make a big deal about myself, right? Do you
Mm-hmm.
feel like there could have, or that even starting now, that there should be some lessons because eventually one day he's gonna have a wife?
Mm-hmm. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I try to do a lot of I do think about, and I do teach him about how to, lead and protect a woman, age appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
With the thought of one day he's gonna have a wife, maybe a daughter or whatever. But that's just the one where I don't. Maybe as he gets older, it'll come out more. But I just didn't feel comfortable doing that. Like, this is what you're supposed to do for mommy. Like, nah.
Mm-hmm.
So last year he realized the day of that it was Mother's Day, and he like was frantic, like getting. He
Oh.
got my dad and his dad to like send Cash App to mine. He's like, "Do not open your Cash App." And so he took my Cash App card, and he got me a present that came a couple days later on Amazon. But then he went around to like the stores, 'cause perk of living in the city. Went around to different stores, got all my favorite candies, and we just watched movies that day. And so,
Girl, you gotta make
um,
me cry. Mm.
so like that, like the fact that he did that, like I
Mm.
felt loved and appreciated. So,
Mhm.
but when people talk about, yeah, I got breakfast in bed, he might do that when he cooks. So he might do that this year. I don't know. Or my kids and my husband sent me here for a staycation, or
Mhm.
I got this. Like, that's just not my life. I don't, and it is what it is. So his father should be here doing that, but
Mhm.
he's not, and so it is what it is.
What's your thoughts, Nikki?
On what?
Any of it?
I thought I answered already. I'm sorry.
I mean, like on everything that Marion, because has that been a part of your experience? Like, I don't know. What's your thoughts?
No, so for me, my gift for Mother's Day, I always say this. My gift is the fact that my daughter still speaks to me. Okay. So there's really no high expectations. I mean, just going into the whole topic of Mother's Day being, it's a trigger day for me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very complicated day for me. It's complicated because early in my motherhood journey, I didn't think I was being a good one. And there were times when me and my daughter's relationship was for the birds. It was not good. So it wasn't always a celebratory day for me. And then
Mhm.
dealing with the fact that, you know, one of the things that would make it challenging is finding the right Mother's Day cards for my own mother. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Like,
mhm. Mhm.
I would eventually find it, but the first cards you run into are the fluffy, you bake me blueberry pie and,
Same.
great, with all these things. And I'm like,
That on
I
track.
had a hood, I had a hood story. You know what I'm saying?
Where the
Like
hood story cards at?
there needs to be
Mhm.
a hood line of greeting cards because
Mhm.
I had a hood story.
All right,
Um,
Hallmark, get y'all DEI together.
so that made it difficult. Now, Mother's Day for myself, well, for me and my mother has gotten better over the years, but it just brings up so much and there's so much expectation around it that I like to just shut everything off until it's over. Like just wake me up at when it's done.
Mm.
Just wake me up when it's done because you feel like, oh, I'm
Mhm.
supposed to make this whole big presentation. And to be honest, I'm not a person that's big on holidays, period.
Mhm.
I'm not a person that's big on holidays, period. And Miriam, you just shouted out Hallmark. I did some research. I said, how did this day become a thing anyway? And like there's like history about it being
Mhm.
a day for something else, and then they wanted to commercialize it and make
Mhm.
money off of it. And that's
They're
how it
making a whole lot of money. Mhm.
exactly. So I'll be like,
Mhm.
I don't want to participate in any of it. You know what I'm saying? Like just I would prefer to just chill. I would just prefer to chill. So there were things in my past, in my younger years, like I wasn't married and um, I felt like I didn't have, like that husband to come home and say, thank you for bearing all my children and taking good care of, like it so you by the time I go to the car aisle, not only trying to find a car for my parent, but you start reading all of the husband and my beautiful, amazing wife, and you just be like, my life is trash, like then you leave from
Well,
work, and I'm like, what is going on? This is stupid. So anyway, but listen, I just went down a whole rabbit hole, but that's
No, you're
that's
good. It's all good stuff. And I think it's good insight because even for me, it's like I'm sitting here like you need to not take for granted the life you live. Because even though the friends that I was talking about, they were talking about going to the hotel the whole weekend. I said, oh no, I want to wake up at home on Mother's Day. I'm treated pretty good. Like I get the breakfast in bed and all like I can't stay with y'all till Sunday morning. But it just and for all the ones who are listening just like on Mother's Day, tell if you've been getting all this treatment, tell your boo and your kids thank you because as you can hear and as you can see, everybody is not privy to these particular, I don't want to call it lifestyle, but these things happening to them or experiences. So that's what I'm sitting here. Like gratefulness is something that I'm exuding right now because you just never know. Like how you said Mother's Day is triggering for you with people who parents have passed away. And it's just a lot. It can be a lot. And then
exactly.
like that question we talked about, like, do you ask or do you tell them? Even in that could like the expectations, like you mentioned, that were wrapped around Mother's Day as a whole is just it can be overwhelming, I think,
mhm.
to say the least.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's the thing, like to touch on that whole expectation thing, like I said, I think mothers and fathers should be honored by their children. I think one should teach the kids to honor the other. Um, but as a mother, as much as I believe my son should honor me, like I said, like I could never just be so entitled with it at the same time because he didn't ask to
Mhm.
be here. So there's that. Yeah, I risked my life bringing him in this world. And I say that about all moms who have given birth. Um, but yeah, he didn't ask to be made. He didn't, to be conceived. He didn't ask to be here. So that I think some moms, in my opinion, go a little far with the entitlement. And so, the guilt trip, like I've witnessed, haven't experienced, but I've witnessed, like the guilt trips and all that from moms, how, and the dictating on how she should be honored. Well, like I said, because the beautiful thing is to see your kid's creativity. Like I said, my kid, he realized it was Mother's Day of, and he pulled something together, that
That's
his
cute. I love
12-year-old
it.
self at the time could do, So
Yeah, I get that. So before we get kind of too far off the subject, talking about the whole single motherhood and stuff. So if you're not with your child's father, do you think that the expectation is that he wishes you happy Mother's Day? He picks out a gift. He helps the child pick out the gift. Like, what are, and I shouldn't say expectations. Like, do you think it's nice, or do you think that it's okay if people require it? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
I want to come from, as a woman desiring marriage, who will pretty much likely, it's a good possibility, I might end up dating and marrying somebody with children.
Mm-hmm.
I want to come from that perspective.
That's good.
For my husband, or for somebody that I'm dating, like I would probably have a hard time marrying and thinking that we are aligned with somebody who didn't do all of that. So, as an advocate for mothers, for birth, who I'm like steeped in all the statistics of what it takes to bring a child into this world. I've experienced bringing a child into this world. I've experienced death of a friend who was pregnant. Like, yeah.
So what's the boundary with your new boo with that though? Like, how much could he give to the ex boo?
You mean like a dollar amount?
Not a dollar amount, just
Mhm.
attention amount.
So I mean, like y'all ain't about to go on no trip, but
Right. No, I know that. Like, can he send her an edible arrangement? Can he have a phone
that's
conversation with
fine.
her?
I
Like,
mean, I really think it should, and really, it can be from all of us. For real,
mm,
for real. I think you should practice taking your children shopping for whatever gift involved in whatever's being purchased or whatever, or made, or however. The
mhm.
kids should be involved in it. It shouldn't be, I don't know if I would have, unless it was like weird behavior with it. I don't know if I would have specifically an issue if he got her a gift on his own, but I think it's more so the emphasis should be on him teaching the child how to honor
Mhm.
their mother. And that's daughter or son. Um, so it should be something that they do together. And like I said, it can be from all of us. It can be from me and Joshua and him and his whatever kids. Like it could be from the household,
I like that.
Yeah, but I think like I would never, like I've dated guys, and because they're beefing with their child's mom, like no, like that can't be, like you got to make sure that she's good. If she ain't good, your kid ain't good. Like what do you mean?
Mm.
So that's where I stand on it. And on the flip side, like I said, I stand boldly in this because I believe the same way. So now, right now, me and my son's father, we don't give each other gifts. We just started getting along actually, like last year. So we just started the whole texting each other happy birthday and happy Mother's Day, Father's Day thing, all within the last year. But before that ended, um, I had I was putting together, like, because all this stuff got messed up like during the summer, and so I was preparing a gift for him from his son, um for Father's Day. And so, but everything went sideways and we didn't speak for like 8 years.
Oh dang.
And so, but like, but I'm saying, so when everything was good and we were trying to like co-parent and all these things, like I was practicing what I'm preaching.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. And that's what I hope, I like somebody who's aligned with me for me to marry, like would have to be okay with that. Well, I don't know if we're gonna pick up that tradition again because a lot of time has passed. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, for me to fall in love with a man and be able to be submitted to him, like he would have to, you know, have the utmost respect for his children's mom. So
Yeah. I mean, I guess there's no rule anywhere in the world that you have to get something on Mother's or Father's Day. We just have done it out of tradition. And
mhm.
yeah. What
I
you
think it's a
think,
good
Nikki?
practice. I mean, unless you do, like you said, regular practice throughout the year. Because then I'm saying,
Absolutely. It
if
should
you
be
don't
regular
do something
throughout the
on
year.
Mother's Day, then how do you teach your kids how to honor their mom throughout the year? Then, like, you would have to show me something. So,
Yeah.
but go ahead, my bad.
No, you're good.
Mhm.
Well, my daughter's father still texts me and says he texts me for my birthday and for Mother's Day. Um, and that's fine. It's enough. Like I said, my whole previous experience was hood, so we didn't get along. So like yeah, today it's just those things. It's like we're fine, we're cordial, and that's the blessing for me. But I was thinking about the fact that I don't think so. Well, we always lived long distance. You know, I lived here in Atlanta. He lived in New York or Maryland. So I could have done a better job with making sure that my daughter, you know, bought him something or sent him something. But it just took such a long time for us to get past the icky stuff that we were going through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So, on a lighter note, though, what can y'all say was like one of the best Mother's Day that y'all had?
Probably last year.
Was this when he went around to all the?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that.
I think I actually have. So I have two. One would be the first Mother's Day that my daughter bought me a card that really had sentimental words in them because she would sometimes give me a card and it would just be so generic. And I'd be like, she don't like me. But the time she gave me a card that had real words in it, I was like, oh my God. So that was an indication that, our relationship was healing and growing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one would be in 2016, me, her, and my mother hung out for the day and like we had brunch or breakfast or something like that. But she was pregnant and it was like almost like 2 weeks to her due date.
Oh wow.
So just with us being there, like us three generations, and then my grandson in her belly, it was just a really good day, very commemorative day.
Yes, I love that. I think for me, I don't. I was gonna say I don't require a lot, but I don't know if that's a true statement. I'm just being honest. My best one was, and so for me, and it's not even like you gotta give me all this stuff. It's just what I'm used to. That's just the pattern we started, and so it's just the expectation every year because I'm very spoiled, and that's just I say that to him all the time, like you spoil me. But I think my best one was it was during pandemic, during COVID. I don't like going to restaurants because they just too packed, and I don't really like being around a lot of people, and I don't want to wait. Like it's Mother's Day, well, I want to wait outside for a reservation, all that, whatever. And so they barbecue like steak and fish and shrimp on the grill, and I was able to lay across the couch and I like watched TV and then I fell asleep and everybody was like in their own spaces and it was just quiet. And I got like some of my favorite things. I got like some pink Air Max. I love pink. And I got like some Air Maxes. I got like a pink candle. I think that was the year I got my AirPods too. I absolutely love my AirPods. Like one of my favorite pieces of technology next to my phone. And it was just like everybody got nice gifts, cards, and just relaxation. Like just not having to do anything. That was one of the best Mother's Day for me for sure.
So what do you think about um celebrating the day with kids or without kids? Because I know for some people the dad or somebody will take the kids for the day and let the mother have the day to themselves. So are you for or against like not spending the day with your children?
So I would have preferred to be with my kids. Now I will say as they get older, if they wanted to like, so let me just back up. I was not ever like, you see those Mother's Day trips where they're like gone for Mother's Day. That would never be me. Like prior, like I would never, I'm gonna be home, like it's Mother's Day, it's supposed to be with my kids, like what, like that's how I would think. And I used to be sad because they used to go to New York in the summer sometimes, and I used to always try to make the trip after Father's Day, like, oh my God, you're gonna be so sad your kid's not there, and he looking at me like, no, it's okay. So I did not want to be away on their birthdays. I've only probably missed one kid's birthday one time, and that's because they went to New York early. And so for holidays and stuff, I'm used to being with my family, so I'm not the chick that's like, you go here, I go there. I would prefer to be with them. Now the older they get, of course, when they start having their own families, I think that not expectation, because not an expectation, it's just what I desire. I think that I have to be more lax on that desire because I understand that it may look different. Like, for example, I may have, like, my oldest, she may be dating somebody and she may want to do something with me and then go do something with him with his mother. Like, I have to be okay with that. So I would prefer to be with my kids, but I know as they get older, that picture may look different, and that's okay for me. So I hope that answered your question a long way.
And that's so because we talked about what was the best one we had, but the best one that I'm looking forward to is like a spa day, but a couple spa. Like when I get married, I'm gonna be attached to the hip. I hope it's somebody that like to be around people because, like, I mean, I like if I think I would let my son choose. Well, it depends on if I have more kids and if my spouse has kids. But if it like say it's just JR, I probably would let him choose. Like if he wants to be around or if he just wants to like send my gift or whatever. Like because like me and my brother are sending my mom something this year, but we won't be there. But we'll be with her next because my cousin is getting married, so we'll be with her the following Mother's Day. I mean, the following weekend after Mother's Day, and so it's like, well, she'll see us then,
Mm-hmm.
So if it's something like where maybe JR got something going on in his life that weekend, like I don't think I would never pressure him to be with me, but if he said, Mom, I want to spend Mother's Day with you, like that's how I want to honor you, then I would try to like schedule around it. But I'm looking forward to a spa weekend, a couple spa weekend and hotel room.
So what's your opinion? Do you think it's selfish if I wanted to spend Mother's Day by myself? This is with knowing that, I have a mother, my mother's alive. But I'm a mom too. And sometimes I just want to be alone. So do you think that that's selfish?
I struggle with that every year.
Yeah, because how far is your mom, Marion? How far
2
is she?
hours.
2 hours. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can be there in a hop, skip, and a jump, but I don't be wanting to. I love my mommy. But for Mother's Day, like I just want to chill. Like I don't want to travel. I don't want to be doing a whole bunch. I want to be around a bunch of people. If it ain't my son or my husband, like I don't want to be around you. But at the same time,
like to honor or be honored. It's like you have to choose.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy though, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because it's like I don't want to neglect my mom because I love her and I do want to honor her at the same time. And my mama want her kids up under her.
Because I was just about to say, honor looks different. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to be in their presence. So, but you just said she wants her kids there.
So I mean, like she don't make us feel bad for it, but we know what she wants. So,
and I think for me as a mom, I much rather have Christmas than Mother's Day. So if you're gonna be somewhere for Mother's Day, but baby, you coming through for Christmas, let's do Christmas because that's like one of my favorite holidays. So Mother's Day, like okay, if you want to send a card or a gift or whatever, but you're gonna be somewhere else or doing something else, or you want to send me away because I'm not opposed to my kids sending me away either eventually. But I would much rather have like the Thanksgiving or Christmas for sure.
And that, it's funny because that's what my mom gets though. Like even with the whole co-parenting thing, I've like been consistent with on Christmas Day, he waking up at my mama's house.
I mean,
So,
maybe have a conversation with her to see which one she preferred. That's just my
mhm,
preference.
mhm,
But going back to your question, Nikki, in regards to, so like my mom moved down here. She was in New York, so this was never an issue for me because I'm not about to travel. I typically would not travel all the way to New York to be with her for Mother's Day. But like now she's here and we probably live like 20 something minutes away from each other. But I feel like Mother's Day is my day. And so we can do something the day before or even a couple days before, because it doesn't mean that I don't honor you and I don't love you. It's just two things. One, it is my day to like for my kids and my husband to celebrate and honor me. And then two, the second thing is traditionally we have been away from family where this is just what we've done. You know what I mean? And so this is just how we're set up and how our family just does it every year. So it's not any, strikeout or exclusion to anyone else. It's just this is typically what we've done in tradition. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. But I can't understand. And that's why I was saying I understand as my kids get older, if it's going to look different, I have to be okay with that. And I would hope that, my mom would be the same, hopefully. But, well, I guess you kind of gave your opinion.
Yeah, it's a thing. So my mother, one of her top two love languages is quality time. And Mother's Day is like a big day for her because I mean, and I get it, right? It's around the date of my grandmother's birthday, and my grandmother is no longer with us. Um, there's that, and then she had a really close relationship with her mother, so she's missing her mom. It's around my nana's birthday, and it's sentimental. So I get it, but sometimes it's just really it's a struggle, and then just think the struggle itself, like just thinking about it, then that ends up putting me in a messed up mood,
Yeah.
Just to
It's a
even
lot of pressure.
yeah, just to even have to think about it, it just puts me in a different kind of mood. And so I just be like, why did they start all this trouble?
Yeah, because even I was feeling guilty. So like I'm not spending Mother's Day, particularly on the day with my mom this year. So I asked her what she wanted. She told me what she wanted and I got it. But then after I purchased it, I was like, well, maybe I should get flowers too, because like I'm not gonna be with her. So even that little bit of guilt shouldn't have been there because I got her what she said she wanted. But it was just like, I don't know, but I just think that goes back to like the pressure that's just put on Mother's Day. It's just ridiculous.
mhm. I will say I have another perfect Mother's Day. Maybe, maybe it's no, like, even though I am kind of like Nikki with the whole Hallmark, um, what's it called? Holidays. Like, I don't do Christmas or Easter or none of the things. Well, those are pagan holidays. I focus on Jesus on them days. I don't do the Christmas tree and all that stuff. But I think, like I said, I just either you do the whole Father's Day thing, or you show your, because it's important for the kids to know how to honor their parents. Anyways, I'm thinking of like a tradition that I might like when it comes to including our moms, which is it would be really nice if, well, now I'm thinking about mother-in-law and travel, but if somehow, because the men, that's the one thing. Like, I remember one time my mom, we were home for Mother's Day, and my mom cooked dinner, and I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Like, no. And I just would love for like the men to take an initiative, like whether it be my brother, my son, my husband, my father, like, and even if y'all got catered, like, don't make us go sit, like you said, like the restaurants is too crowded. Don't want to go to a restaurant. But
Yeah.
for y'all to prepare a meal, cater a meal, however, and we eat good together and don't gotta clean up, like that would be perfect. So
Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
friend. She said that the men in her family do that. So with her sisters and her mom, they all get together and the men make brunch, which is
mhm.
super cool. See, we've not lived with like family around. So to even start those traditions, it would have to happen with friends. And child, y'all heard the Friends episode. So that those traditions have not started. But I
Mhm.
think that even listening to this is super good or intentional or something that I guess I could have took it from left for a takeaway. But something that I will do is just like having a conversation with your kids. I don't think nothing's wrong with having a conversation with them. Like, what do you think when you get older, even as they grow older? Like, how do you want to be honored? So that maybe those conversations and there's not these false expectations going through these relationships. You just kind of have these conversations up front, like this is what it would look like. Okay, babe, well, I'm gonna do this to help the kids figure out how to honor you, or just having the conversations up front, I think help, because it's so much pressure to the false expectations, and you think you're doing something that's amazing for the mom, and then they disappointed because it's not this, but they never communicated this, but then they feel like they can't communicate because then they dictate, and then it's guilt. It's just so much, like it's
Yeah.
just
So that is something I wanted to bring up, just not just for Mother's Day, but gift giving as a whole. I am not one to tell people what to get. I mean, unless it's something I really, really want, then I'm like, usually it's with my mom. Hey, can I have this for Christmas? Hey, can I have this for my birthday? I'm spoiled, so there's that. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, what about that though with gift giving, whether it's Christmas, birthday, Mother's Day, what have you, Arbor Day, I don't know. When you get gifts that don't really speak to you, like I'd be disappointed, but then I don't feel empowered because I don't ever want to seem entitled to anybody, friends, family, or whoever, to like say, "Hey, I did that gift didn't really speak to me."
I don't think you're supposed to tell them, man.
Okay, that's what I was asking. Like I don't, but I didn't know if
Well,
anybody
okay,
else
so
out
I
there.
think it depends. I have told my husband certain times, like, I don't really like lime green. Just using that for example, you know
That's
what I
different.
mean?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
different.
but like you get a gift for your birthday from like a cousin, and you just like, girl, your gift was not speaking to me. I don't think you can do that.
And I don't. I just wondered if, because I'm usually one that just be like letting stuff happen. So I didn't know if anybody was out there that like, no, if you don't, I don't know.
And see, that's why I make lists. So I make lists for two reasons. For one, I don't know if people just think it's difficult to get things for me, but people always ask me, what do I want? So I make a list, but the expectation is never that you have to buy to friends. Let's say that. The expectation is that, like, if I'm throwing a party and I'm like, hey, here's my gift list, you don't have to purchase anything. It's just people have asked me, so I'm communicating to everybody, because if you're going to get me something, I would much rather for you to get me something I'm actually going to use. I don't want you to waste your money, but because there has been gifts that I've gotten that I've just not used. So I always just typically make a list, mainly because my family, like when I grew up, we were big gift givers. And that go back to the whole financial thing. I'm not sure if we talked about it on here, like going broke on Christmas and all. Like that's how I grew up. That's just what happened. Maxing out credit cards because you want 100 gifts under the tree. Like that's the environment I grew up in. And so gift giving was just a big thing, which now I know it was a love language, but nobody understood that back then, right? So I've always been just built or wired to just like, this is the list, because I did it younger. And if you say it, then boom, I already got it. Like every year I just got my list. I just add to my Amazon list. But I don't think that if somebody bought me something that I didn't like, I'm definitely not going to say anything at all. I'm just not going to use it. Wish they waste their money, but
Yeah. Okay. I was just making sure because
Nikki,
and
what
that's
you
nothing,
think?
because gifts is not my love language at all anyway. So that's why I just like, it's a thought that count kind of thing. Now
Yeah,
at the
also, I
service.
always, yeah.
So yeah.
I was kind of thinking back to the other part you're talking about spending the day, back to the Mother's Day. But my question was, is any Sunday as good as Mother's Day? Like, Will any given Sunday do? So say if on some random Sunday or Saturday, you're like, hey ma, let's go somewhere, or let's go out to eat, or let's do something. And you spend this day with your parent, it does that. Like, why does that day not as good as doing it on Mother's Day specifically? As far as spending a day, or what honor looks like, or what spending a quality time with your parent looks like. Like, what is it about doing it on that day?
I think it's just the expectation that they expected on that day. For most people, not all, right? They just, the world has made you expect it on that day. But I think that, to your question, any other Sunday is good. Because any day they want to buy me candles and sneakers and let me lay across the couch and put me food on the grill, I'm gonna take it.
Yeah, I think if I went home on any given weekend and planned the weekend with me and my mom and this stuff, she would be like, Mother's Day, what? Like, yeah, like it wouldn't be like a double expectation. Like she would still be, I'm pretty sure, like, still reeling from that experience. So,
I
I
think
think
it's
like
just
my
a,
mom
I
is an
think
empty
you.
nester. No, I was gonna say 'cause my mom is an empty nester, and so I don't want to say she don't handle it well, but like she would just be wanting us home, and so anytime that she gets to spend with us, she just be soaking it up. So
Yeah, I get that. I'm probably gonna be the same way. I was just gonna say, I think that all the holidays, right? Like Thanksgiving, Christmas, Mother's Day, Father's Day, all the things. It's just an opportunity to be intentional about slowing down and just remembering, honoring, appreciating. Like it's not necessarily about exactly what that looks like. It's just your everyday, you're moving, constantly going. And it's just a reminder on the calendar, like an alarm that goes off that's like, hey, stop for a moment and say he a good man, or he a good father, or she's a good mom, or sit around the table and pray together and talk about what you're thankful for and honor each other by exchanging gifts, have some fun, play games. Like it's just a stamp to say in the alarm to say, okay, stop, pause for a moment, all your busy life. And so for me, that's how I look at holidays, and that's why I love them, because we can just be going, and sometimes we're not being intentional about making sure. Now, should we? Absolutely, but we're all human, and everybody's life is set up different, and so I just love holidays because it gives an intentional moment to pause and be together. So that's my take on holidays.
All
I
right.
was gonna say something I can't. Oh, I was gonna bring up the I just now started finding success in my life. And so and getting financially stable in the last couple of years. So that's also like a desire. Like I can't wait. Like as I make more money, I just always look for opportunities to spoil my parents. Cause like I told you, I'm spoiled. Like I can go home right now and live under their roof if I wanted to. And whatever I ask for, like there's hardly ever a question. Now, granted, I don't take advantage of it, but I'm 35 years old and they still give relentlessly. So that's another thing. Like I'm always looking for an opportunity to be able
Yeah,
to give back a portion because you
I
never
agree.
fully repay it. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's dope.
Mhm.
Well, I did say that I was going to share a story that had to relate. Like I had a mom moment earlier this week, and it was just so you heard me talk about me and my daughter's relationship, throughout the years. And she called me the other morning and she just was like, yeah, I just wanted to call you to say thank you. She said, I was listening to some music and it kind of had me, it took me back to a time. She said, and I realized that music is my safe space. And she said, I was listening to certain songs and it just brought up all these memories. And she was like the green car. I had this green Sentra back in the 90s. So when she said the green Sentra, and I was like, oh man. She said, yeah, she said, so I wanted to thank you for for one, my connection and love for music, and two, just recognizing that I was safe, and so for providing that safe space for me. And I was like, oh,
Oh,
so
Oh.
beautiful.
my heart just kind of melted because of the fact, like, one, the shared, the love of the music, but also looking back, as hard of a time as I give myself sometimes about, how I parented when she was small, that she could go back and then still make the connection
Mhm.
that she, like, I was at least trying, you know what I'm saying? And that
Yeah. Yeah.
she did feel safe. She said, even, despite some of the other things, she was like, yeah, I was safe, and so that was just a very comforting moment for me. So just wanted to share that.
I love
I
that.
love those
Beautiful.
little moments where you recognize
Yes.
the growth in
Mhm.
yourself and in your relationships. And that's kind of been happening for me a lot lately. um
That's dope.
yeah. So I think this was a very good topic. So I just hope that, despite whatever kind of feelings or emotions or whatever comes up or what has come up, around Mother's Day, that, everybody just kind of be encouraged, think about new
Mhm.
ways to celebrate it. Like, Marion talked about, what she would like to see happen. Um,
Mhm.
just, make it what you need it to be. And with that, we're going to move into our take it or leave it from this conversation. And I'll start by saying that one of the things that I'm taking is just a reminder to stay present and think about
Mhm.
today and the future, like Marion said a couple of times. Well, I know the one I'm looking forward to, because
Mhm.
when these type of days come up, like, it triggers the old memories and stuff. And sometimes they're not that great. So really trying to not so much focus on the past, but to be present in today. Is like, okay, so what is your relationship like today? Or what is it that you can create today to to make it better? So that's what I'm thinking. I don't know if I'm leaving Hallmark. Leaving Hallmark.
That's hilarious. They just got this new urban line too that is so dope because somebody gave me a car on my birthday. And so that's
Mm.
interesting.
But
But
it brings up the fact that I used to want to do a greeting card line. And my girlfriend, I remember, she was like, yeah, you should call them freaking greetings, right? Freaking greeting card. Because I just always felt like, yeah, there need to be a line of baby daddy cards. Like, it just needs
oh, you should do so. You shouldn't have told me that because you already
it
yes,
needs
you
to
should
say,
do that. Look, I'm
it needs
writing
to
it
say,
down.
it needs to say
You
the
are
truth. The truth.
you
You need to do that.
and Nikki, because you are good with words already. Because that's as you were talking, I said, yeah, like you said they came out with an urban line, but I'm like, they need difficult relationships line. Like that's what they need.
Cause
So, because it
baby,
ain't
oh
and
my
it ain't
God.
just black folk that go through it either.
Oh
Like,
no.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Girl,
And
that's
then
gonna
not
go.
just not talking about
That's a
Father's
million
Day.
dollar business. That's a million dollar business
mhm,
right there. I'm telling you, I'm telling
mhm,
you, because I do the same thing. Where not just for Mother's Day, but when I'm buying cars for people, it's all the little cheesy stuff. So you have a hard time like trying to identify directly. Like even when it comes to my husband, like I want it to be on point. He loves cards, so it has to be on point. I can't just pick him up no cheesy generic card. He keeps all his cards. They're very sentimental to him.
aw,
Um, and so I have to make sure like the lines are on point. Like it needs to align. And so sometimes it's super hard to find cars. So I agree. I agree. I love it.
mhm. Speaking, why don't you just make your own?
I could, but time in my life, And then I don't know. There's many reasons why, but I could. You're absolutely right. I could. I do write him letters, but it's
Okay,
not like
yeah.
on Father's Day. It's just like randomly I'll put one on his nightstand or something. Like
Mhm.
I write stuff on his mirror. So I
Aw,
do that, but I've not made a card.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
super cool. So Tramika, what's your take it or leave it?
So I'm going to start my leave it. I think that I'm actually going to leave after listening to this episode. My expectation from the traditions that we have had in the past to just like it has to look like this because it's looked like this before, and just accept that whatever I get, no matter what it is, because it's really. As I have sat here and reflected through this episode, number one, all my kids are still alive. I'm still alive. The fact that we can just be in each other's presence, um, and watching them now that they're older, like watching them grow, that's a present in itself. To sometimes I'll be looking at Sorrel like, baby, we messed up on that. Like it looks a little rough. I'm not sure, but sometimes it's like, oh shoot, high five, like we did a good job. And so just sitting in those things,
Mhm.
versus the expectation of just like all these gifts and lavish stuff. Which I'm not gonna front. It was stuff that I expected because that was the tone that was set from the beginning. Even when the time that we were apart and we weren't necessarily married or our oldest, he would still bring me big gifts for birthdays, all of that. So it was just he just set that tone from the beginning. But I'm leaving it. So whatever happens, happens. I'm gonna appreciate it all. And actually, what I'm going to take away, which I felt like was so profound from Marion's story, is I am going to start checking in with my single moms, friends who have children and don't have spouses in the picture, and maybe I can send money or I can help set up ways that their kids can help honor them for Mother's Day. And so that's what I'm taking.
Aw.
Yeah, that really touched me because I didn't think about it. I mean, I was a single mom for like 2 years, but even still, he was present. It was just that we weren't married and weren't like together in a relationship. So I never thought about like I'm not gonna say nothing because I don't want to make a big deal about it. But I'm scrolling through Facebook and I see everybody else with stuff. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that's a lot, and I never realized how much single moms may go through with that particular situation. So I want to help.
That's so cute. Thank you. I thank you on behalf of all the moms that you touch. um, I'm really trying to figure out what I'm leaving. I don't think I'm leaving anything. I think, I have a healthy acceptance for where I am. I'm not bitter about it. I am hopeful for the future. So I don't think I have anything to really leave. Um, but I am taking, I don't know, just like you said, gratitude for where I am. Because there's always somebody that could be worse than you. That's for
Mm-hmm.
thing. Gratitude for the child that I do have. I don't even bring that up because it's triggering for me. Things I haven't even experienced are triggering for me because I can't imagine going through them. So I appreciate the child that I do have. I appreciate that that he is a loving soul. He has a bleeding heart like his mama. And yeah, I am taking on keeping and taking my hope for the future because I know as he gets older, like, it is what it is right now, why he can't be employed and stuff, but baby, not that it's an expectation, but I am hopeful for when he's grown. Oh, he gonna treat his
Yeah.
mama right. So
Yeah, I definitely see that. And I appreciate your hopefulness that you showed throughout. Like, girl, when you get married, I want God to send you all the things because it's just so beautiful how you have this. I don't even want to say it's a painted picture or it's not expectation. It's just this hope and this dream and this desire. And I just love it. I love it. And you're not
don't
saying it
make me
like you
cry
say in a
now.
bitter way, but you're hopeful. So I love
Yeah. Don't make me cry now. I ain't trying to do all that. We got to leave.
it.
Great. Great timing. Mom Squad, it's been a pleasure. um, let us know in the comments though. Join the conversation. Y'all know how we do. How was your Mother's Day this year? I guess we're putting this out on Mother's Day, huh? So yeah, but joining the discussion, how was Mother's Day? Do you have expectations for Mother's Day? Do you agree with any of the points that we touched on today? How do you honor your mom? How do you have that tug of war of to honor or be honored? Yeah, do you have any tips for us on that? Yeah, do you have difficult um relationships with your mother or your child, and how do you navigate that? Heart goes out to anybody that's lost a child or a parent and is having a hard time this year, this holiday season. So yeah, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell on your favorite podcast app. Make sure you leave us a 5-star rating. Oh, I didn't even bring up yeah, Facebook and IG, momscape.podcast, momscape.podcast. But also in joining in the conversation, we're going to backtrack a little bit. Yes, momscapemedia@gmail.com. Send us your stories. Let us know how are you feeling about Mother's Day, even I would love to hear from a first time mom, whether you're pregnant or you just had a baby. What are your thoughts, and yeah, share those things, or anybody else with grown kids. I love to hear those stories as well. I'm talking about we, those sort of things. Yeah, I think that's all the things. So yeah, till next time. Bye.
Bye, y'all.